Hello, everybody. This is Gwyneth. Listen, we have a lot to talk about today. I'm going to make it as understandable as is humanly possible. There have been a few shifts that are impacting the energy around us in spectacular ways. I just noticed everything I put on this morning is sliding to the right. Yes. And I'm thinking about the things that have occurred in the last 2 weeks that I need to pull into this video to make things a little bit more understandable. So, I hope you have your coffee. I do. I may stop and get a second one because there's a lot happening and I'm very excited about sharing it with you. So let's get started. The forecast here runs from August 3rd to the 17th. I'm recording this before I want you to have as much information as you can possibly stand and have this ready at your fingertips so that you understand the shifts that are affecting you and affecting all the people around us. And I may take a pause to pay attention to Sammy, my mini dachshund, who would love to be sitting on the table here. And other than that, let's get rolling. I feel, and I'll mention this further down the road, and I will really hit on this when we talk about the kite formations that have been formed by some of the transits that are going to be talked about today. But we need to pay attention to patterns. As you can see, if you look behind me, I'm a big one for patterns. I love intricate details. I love to see the shapes that plants make in their leaves. But I also think astrology is so fascinating because of the patterns that it makes in our lives and on various levels of society. So I'll get a little bit more into that in a minute. But on July 26th, we all experienced the shifting of the axes. This is a lunar shift. It's based on mathematics. It's an 18-month period. It sets the tone and the pattern for the upcoming months. I ask everybody, and I have been talking to my friends, and they go, I don't know what I was doing in 2008. Well, I beg you to look backwards at what your life was like in 2008 into 2009, maybe a little longer. What were you up to? What was the focus? What was the theme? If you were to write a play about your life at that time, what would be the overarching storyline? One of my friends said, well, I went on a cruise. No, that's not what we're talking about here. Unless you stayed on that cruise for 18 months, boy, that sounds nice right now. I think we should be thinking about it in terms of what were the concepts that you were thinking about? What were you working on? What was your focus? Was there a shift in direction at that time? So think about that. So we've moved into an Aquarius North Node and a Leo South Node. The common thread of ideas is that the North Node is what we're heading toward. That's our destiny. And the Leo South Node is kind of where we're coming from, or what we're needing to leave some of it behind in some way or some form or fashion. The Leo energy, I think, also is the push to move toward this Aquarian cycle that we're in. And a lot of it has to do with where it lands in your chart. So keep that in mind as we talk about everything else today. And I'm going to run through some of the shifts in the personal planets being the planets that move quickly through sign. They have day-to-day impacts on you, and they are also closest to the Earth in orbit. I mention those because then when we're talking about how they relate to the various aspects and transits that we're having, we can understand what placement they're in. And particularly if you're a chart looker, like I am, of course, you can say, oh, Venus is in my 4th house. It may or may not be, but I'm just using that as an example. So here's what I want to say to you. Let's start with Monday the 3rd. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Now, so on that day, the 3rd, Chiron, the wounded healer, moves into Taurus. And Taurus is all about rich environments. It's about your food. It's about security. It's about those issues in your life that are very visceral. And also, don't forget, Taurus is ruled by lovely, beauty-loving Venus. Now, Chiron has been in Taurus. Did I say it moves into Taurus? I'm wrong. It's going retrograde. And this will last, this retrograde period, until January of 2027. And of course, as I just mentioned, it's all about food, natural habitats, your environment, the nature around you. But when it's in retrograde, we are rethinking our approach to everything, how we acquire food, what we spend on it, how we make it, what's happening in the environment. We're rethinking our strategies. So that will be part of the general, I want to say, diaspora of the situation during this time. It's the culture of food. It's the culture of getting back to basics. Now, on Thursday the 6th, lovely Venus goes into its natural sign of Libra. And Libra's about beauty, and it's about looking good and many things. Look that up in your chart. Okay. On Friday the 7th, we have a sun in Leo, obviously. And it's making this very close partnership aspect. It's called a trine to Saturn in Aries. So Saturn in Aries is do it now, do it proud, do it strong. And the sun in Leo is hell yeah, do it. Okay. So these two together are both sun signs. It's a clear path for getting things done. It's good for new projects. It's good for situations where you're forced into leadership. Okay. Now, after the 7th, you can almost feel the drum beats moving us toward a major transit. And we'll get to that in a sec. On Sunday the 9th, Mercury will also move into Leo. Your ideas are illuminated. They are loud. They are strong. You're fixed on what you're feeling and seeing and understanding. On Tuesday the 11th, Mars, these are all personal planets, moves into Cancer. Cancer and Mars. Now let's talk about that for a second. Cancer by its nature is a little bit hesitant. But remember, it's a crab. 2 steps back, 1 step forward. Cancerians will often take their good old time in accomplishing something, or being getting into a relationship, or making, I don't know, Thanksgiving dinner. So Mars has moved into that sign. So Mars generally is, just do it, for goodness sakes. Well, in Cancer, it's what I would consider a little bit debilitated. But I think with activities Cancer says, wait a minute, let's rethink this. It's almost a natural retrograde when it's in Cancer. Now, here's the big news. We've already talked about the personal planets. We've already talked about the fact that they've all moved sign, and they're moving quickly. And we had a shift in all the outer planets a few weeks ago. Now, on Wednesday the 12th, mark this on your calendars, we have a new moon in, you guessed it, Leo. You know, loud and proud, Leo. It's all about taking the bull by the horns, not a lion, taking something by the horns and moving forward. A new moon means new beginnings. A new moon means leaving something that you worked on already behind. Hopefully you got it finished. That's another thing with Leos. They will often jettison projects because they don't like them. Doesn't mean this is no shade on Leos. I'm saying this is part of the general gestalt of being leonine. You ate your fill and you're out. You've had enough of the discussion, you leave. You say it politely and hopefully with diplomacy, but if a party is boring you, you don't stick around. Now listen, that's a little bit like this new moon. Now, simultaneously, we have a solar eclipse in Leo at 20 degrees. Check your charts. Where in your chart is 20 degrees of Leo? You might not have it. It can be within an orb of 5 degrees. So it could be 25 degrees of Leo, or it could be 15 degrees of Leo. But check your charts. And all you Aquarians out there, remember, Leo is opposite your sign, so it applies to you also. Now, these two, the moon and the sun, are in a partnership here. They're both at 20 degrees. They're both in Leo. And wherever this lands, I'm going to be talking about the signs in a little bit, but wherever this fits into your chart, there's a massive shift, just like there has been a massive shift with these lunar north and south nodes in Aquarius and Leo. This is more of the same. And wherever that falls in your chart, it lights that area up. It's like, think Broadway, you know, the great colorful way, so to speak. You know, think illumination. Powerful new beginnings. I wrote some notes here for myself. Transformation, karmic shifts, a life that you've been hoping for maybe, but couldn't see how it would all fit together. How would you attain this? Then there is this aspect, remember with the solar eclipse, we will have, in certain places you'll be able to see it, and it will go dark for a period of minutes if it's happening in your area where you can actually visualize this. So I digressed here for a second. Then at the same time, that if that weren't enough, there's always more to come, more that we didn't report, right? So I'm laughing because I can't sometimes believe how this all comes together so beautifully. But we have a grand trine. Again, this will affect you in various parts of your charts. I'm going to be talking about that today. We have Venus in Libra. We have Uranus in Gemini. And we have Pluto in Aquarius. What is noticeable about all of that? Well, they're all air signs. So it will spark your imagination. It will also light up those areas of your chart. It is also that trine, that grand trine, are sectors of empowerment. I'm going to say it again. The lighting up of those various areas with this grand trine opens doors and is empowering to the individuals involved. Now, there are offshoots from this grand trine, and it's called a kite. And there are 2 kites off of this grand trine. I am not going to go into any great detail about the kites. I am going to create another video and talk about that within the next couple days. But what is important is that there is a aspect within a kite that is forming. It's a sextile between Mercury and Neptune. And Mercury is the mind, and Neptune is your intuition. It also can be the planet of introspection and illusion. Mercury is about the mind, it's about expanded thinking, it's about curiosity. But there are 2 aspects that fall out of this particular grand trine that behooves us to be aware of: manipulation, false attractions, and this can happen in non-realistic situations too, whether they're personal, political, or social, or through social discourse. So when I am talking about the various signs today, I will point those out in the charts that I'm analyzing, because there is room here for the imagination to sweep you off your feet. If it's about the integrity of someone and you're questioning it, let time tell us what the real truth is. Give it a few weeks. If you're interested in somebody and you're not sure whether this is workable or if it's in your head, give it a few weeks, because everything will be shifting as we move forward. But right now, it's even though that there is room here for empowerment and self-development in big ways and opportunities that are unbelievable, there is also a need to check your mysticism at the door. And I am an astrologer, and I've studied this since I was 10 years old. Some form of this I've been involved with, and I am I get goosebumps when I talk about this. But I do believe we're in a highly charged atmosphere because of the trine, not just between the Neptune and Mercury, but we also have Pluto trine Uranus, which is very charged, very mystical, very think outside the box. It's important to keep your reality in check and give everything breathing room before you leap into something without a lot of information. And time will tell whether something is real or not. And you're talking to somebody who, is a practitioner in this. I have had great experiences. I have, stepped outside the cave. I've seen things. I've experienced a life that has so much mysticism wrapped up in it. I could write a book, but the thing is, I'm also aware that it's very important to stay grounded. And that is what I'm urging during this particular series of aspects, and as they transit through your charts, to play in the sandbox very carefully. Okay, so I'm looking here. I want to see, is there anything I'm missing? Nope. I am going to finish this forecast review and move on to the signs. And again, I always tell people, please like, share, and subscribe. I am earnest about what I do, and I love to hear from all of you. I'm at cottagetarot.com. I'm sometimes slow at responding because I have my fingers in a lot of pots. And frankly, I can't always find your messages, but let me know how you are. I'd like to hear how this all plays out in your life. And in the meantime, let's jump over to the signs and see what's going on. Take care.